What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. I got a fantasy matchup for you guys this afternoon. This is for Ricky Hatton versus Meldrick Taylor, 140 pounds. Overall, it's a good fantasy matchup. This is 84. I actually did an 84 back in July. It was Thomas Hearns versus James Toney, and for some reason that matchup was taken down for YouTube. I'm not even sure why to this day, because never mind, it's besides the point. But Meldrick Taylor versus Ricky Hatton. Meldrick Taylor is a former 1984 United States Olympic gold medalist. He won it. I forgot who he faced. I believe this Olympics was in Los Angeles, and he moved up to 135 pounds, and then moved up to 140, where he became a titleist. And at 140 pounds, that's where he had his epic bout against Julio Cesar Chavez, which is one of the best matchups in the last 20 years that has taken place. Meldrick Taylor, his style was very versatile. He showed a lot of athleticism, boxing ability, and skill, and incorporated all three of those into his style of fighting. Now, along against Chavez, it was a matchup. The first matchup, it was a matchup where he was winning, and he lost the matchup, in the very last round. Chavez came in at the last round and just beat him. But after that matchup, he just wasn't the same ever again. And it is what it is. It happens in the sport. But after the matchup, he went on. He won another fight and then faced Aaron Davis. He became the welterweight champion. Now, to become champion after a matchup like that, you have to possess a lot of skill. And you have to be very skilled to continue to fight and win another title. If Meldrick Taylor wasn't skilled, he would have never won that extra championship. So he goes on, he fights Terry Norris, doesn't win a third division championship, and then he goes and he fights Chavez in a rematch and was knocked out in like 8 rounds. But Meldrick Taylor was highly skilled and possessed a lot of boxing ability that a lot of fighters don't possess today. But on to Ricky Hatton's had the luxury of facing three of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the last 15 years: Costa Tszyu, Floyd Mayweather Jr., and Manny Pacquiao. These three fighters are three of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the last 15 years. And he only holds a victory of 1 out of the 3 bouts, but he at least in 2 out of the 3, he's put up very valiant efforts. And unfortunately, in his last matchup, he was knocked out in 2 rounds. Ricky Hatton was the type of fighter that will bring the fight and pretty much he'll bring the fight that the crowd wants to see. He always brings the fight, and he always comes to fight. He's dedicated and focused, really focused on winning, and giving his fans a show to watch whenever he came to fight. No matter what opponent he faced, he always rushed in. He always brought some excitement to the fans, and became a beloved figure in the UK. But when you bring these two styles together, what happens? Well, with Meldrick Taylor, a lot of people don't remember this, but occasionally he would throw a very nice left hook to the body. He had good hand speed, some decent pop in the punches, moved very well, angled very well, did a good job of making the opponents chase after him. Meldrick Taylor, and Ricky Hatton is the type of fighter that would rush in. He would rush in consistently, always try to brawl. He was a pretty good body puncher. Was a good inside fighter, good at working on the inside. Meldrick Taylor was pretty good at working on the inside, but he used his hand speed to his advantage. Meldrick Taylor had very good hand speed, was very quick, very good reflexes. But sometimes he did stand there and he would trade shots. But in a matchup against Hatton is no Julio Cesar Chavez. Some of the shots that he landed on Julio Cesar Chavez are shots that would have knocked out the normal boxer, the average boxer. Chavez had a great chin, and if Meldrick Taylor landed some of the shots they landed on Chavez, then if he landed some of the shots that they landed on Chavez, I believe that Hatton would have went down. And Hatton has shown some liabilities in his boxing ability. First off, against Luis Collazo, a fighter with pretty good hand speed, was pretty quick and had more of a boxing style. He stayed on the outside and he boxed. Floyd Mayweather Jr., another fighter that didn't fight on the inside. Though you could say that Joe Cortez somewhat helped with this victory for Floyd Mayweather. That's what a lot of, I guess, haters would say. If Hatton didn't have an inside fight, then he had a lot of trouble. And against Mayweather, he didn't get to fight him on the inside. Pacquiao does a lot of incorporates a lot of what Meldrick Taylor does. A lot of in and out, a lot of lateral movement, a lot of angles. Now Pacquiao doesn't create the angles that Meldrick Taylor did, but Pacquiao, even though it's kind of a straight line with Pacquiao, you know, he has good hand speed as well. He has good hand speed and he has power. Meldrick Taylor possesses a style and ability that Hatton has had trouble against. And that's against the fighter with good hand speed, good athleticism, quick, quite strong, decent power, throws a very good overhand right. And if he was able, and like I said, if he was able to land some of the shots he landed on Chavez, Hatton would have been knocked out. If I had to make a choice for this matchup, I'm going to go with Meldrick Taylor by I'll say knockout in probably about 10 rounds. I think Taylor will knock him out in 10 rounds. Pretty much, you know, occasional body shots, using his hand speed and his angles to avoid the pressure that Hatton will bring on him. So I'm going to go with Meldrick Taylor by a 10th round knockout. So anyway, guys, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.